Today we're going to make a new note type. We're going to use that note type in order to study our quotations. And so we go to our decks, so open up your account. So I'm user 1 in mine. So you have to be on the program. You can't do this via the Anki web. So you have to be on a laptop or on a desktop or a MacBook. You can't do it in a Chromebook. So here I'm in my default deck. I'm going to go to Add. And here in Add, so they're asking what type of card do I want to have. So I say Manage. Okay. And I'm going to add a type. And now it's saying, well, what type do you want to base it on? So I'm going to base it on the basic and reversed card. Okay, so that does 2 cards. We're going to actually make a 3rd card out of that. I'm going to say OK. And so this, instead of basic and reversed, we'll call it quote. Okay, and we'll do quote, and it'll be forward, backward, and author. Okay, so we're going to one time have the beginning of the quote and answer with the end of the quote. One time have the end of the quote and have to answer with the beginning. One time have the whole quote and have to answer with the author. Who's the author? Okay, so quote, forward, backward, and author. Okay, so we go down and there it is, quote, forward, author. Okay, and so we've added that, so now we can close that. We have that note type. And down here, hopefully we'll see it. And so when I go down here, I say, do I see it? And you can see that there it is, quote, forward, backward, and author. So I'm going to choose that type. Okay. And I'm going to edit the fields on it. So I have front, back, and let's rename it. So the new name for the front will be beginning, and the new name for the back will be end, so the end of the quote. Okay. Actually, we can even go up there, so instead of beginning, we'll say beginning of quote, end of quote. And then we're going to add another field, and that will be the author. So there's our card. So our card's going to be like this. So those are the fields. And now let's see what kind of cards we're going to make from it. So right now, if you look at it, we have the beginning of the quote, will be the front of the card. So for example, let's suppose our quote was, some bring joy wherever they go. So that'll be our first part, beginning. And then what do we want as the answer to that? Others whenever they go, the second part of the quote. Okay. Now, what will the second card be? So we go down and we look at the second card, and the second card will have the end of the quote. Others whenever they go, and what do we want to get as an answer? Okay. Some bring joy wherever they go, the beginning of the quote. Okay. But we're going to want to add a 3rd card. But what we can do to, I believe, is we can rename these. Let's see if we can rename this field. Oh, yeah. So we can rename that card. Okay. So this will be the first part of quote card. Okay. And then the second card, if we rename it, will be end of quote on front. Okay, so that'll be the second card. Okay. And then we're going to add a card. So we go up here and we say plus. Okay. And let's rename that too so we know what we're doing. So we'll say rename that. And that card will be ask for author of quote. Okay. So that'll be for ask for author of quote. Okay, now what are we going to have in this? So if you look at the first card, it has our field beginning of quotes, and then you can see the styling, and you can play around a little bit with the styling of this too. So you can have your cards be a different color type. Okay, so let's try that. So let's try it with blue. Okay. And then also we look at the font family. And so you might say, well, I don't know any font families, but you can have some fun with this. I say font family list. So we'll list a font family list. Okay. And so here's some that we know we can use for sure. Okay. And let's try this. We'll try Helvetica. So we're going to try Helvetica. Okay, and I'm going to put it as lowercase. Just okay. Now look what happened over here. See how it changed already to blue, and we changed the type. So if I put Arial, I think it'll change. So did it change much? Can't tell. Yeah, a little bit. Helvetica. What are some other font types we could do? Times New Roman. Garamond. That's a nice sounding name, so let's try that. Garamond. All right, so I'm going to try Garamond. All right, so let's see if that changed the end of the quote. Yeah, so now that changes the styling for the next one as well, the end of the quote. Okay, and now what are we going to want for ask for author? Right? So you can actually go in here and we're going to edit. So we can't edit over here. We have to edit over here. We're going to put something in here. So it's always going to be the same. So we'll just say author of question mark. And now what do we need? We need not just the end of quote, but we need the beginning of the quote. So we copy that. Author, beginning of quote, end of quote. And you see how in order to get a new line, put this break in. So we're going to put a break in there. Okay. So author of, beginning of quote, end of quote. Okay. Now, what do we need in order to have an answer? Okay. So we don't need we just need the front side, and then we're going to add a field. So we want to add a field, the author. Okay. So we say okay. But we didn't want to add the author down there, did we? Where we wanted to add the author was down here. So let's add the author down here. And we don't need the beginning of the quote here. Okay, so author of. So that looks like what we wanted. So let's give that a try. Okay, so the beginning of our quote is, some bring joy wherever they go, others, comma, whenever they go. Right. We'll put comma there. And the author of that is the Irishman, Oscar Wilde. Okay. So later on, we're going to add several more fields to your quotes. Okay. But for right now, let's see if we can get this one to work. So we add it. Okay, so let's close that. Okay, and we'll go to Browse, and we're going to click on Added Today. And we see that there's 3 cards that we added. So let's go to Preview. Some bring joy wherever they go, others whenever they go. Okay. Let's go to the next card. The next card is reversed, others whenever they go. So what's the beginning of that? Some bring joy wherever they go. Okay. Author of, question mark, some bring joy wherever they go, others whenever they go. Answer, Oscar Wilde. Now, when you look at this, you might say, well, I could make this a little bit better. So I'm going to go back to my card type. So let's browse the card again, and we go to the Added Today, and we're going to look at the cards, and we're going to say the end of quote, and we can type something in here like this. What quote ends with question mark. Okay, and so remember, we need to add that break. So we put the break in, less than sign, break, greater than sign. Okay? So now let's try it. Let's preview once again. We say some bring joy wherever they go, others whenever they go. Our next one is what quote ends with others whenever they go. So that quote is, okay? And you can play around with that and see if you can. So there we are. Okay? And in another video, I'm going to show you how you can import cards into your new type. Okay? So for today, first thing to do is to make this new type.